All right, well, here we are. We're live again. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Still trying to figure out this Facebook Live thing. I don't know why it won't show me here. So we're going to figure this out together. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Monday Night Live here on the Dirt Track Untold channel. I'm your host, Jordon Cox. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. How you doing? Everybody, let me know that you're here. Drop a comment in the chat. We're live on YouTube 100%. I don't know why Facebook's not working. But that's not my problem right now. Actually, it is my problem. I'm going to try one more thing here. And then, unfortunately, we might just have to go back to the drawing board on that. But welcome everybody back. Welcome back to another episode. Again, appreciate y'all dropping in, seeing what we got going on. Drop a like, drop a comment, let me know that you're here. Say hi. King Racing, Carson King. Hey, how's it going? Let's go, Jim. How you doing, buddy? All right. Everybody's still saying congrats on the baby. That's great. Perfect. Ron Newman, hello from Lorain, Ohio. How's it going? Jen from Johnstown, how you doing? John, good to hear. Good to see that you're here. Appreciate it. Tim, how you doing? Bristol, Ohio. Kings Racing. How you doing? Roger, good evening to you as well. Tim, saying hi to T35. What's going on, everybody? How we doing? All right, so I think sorry, I'm just trying one more thing here for our Facebook friends. I don't understand why that's not working. Sorry, the tech guy in me is really wanting to get this figured out, but otherwise, all right. We might just have to scrap that again. Sorry, guys. Sorry, anybody who was trying to watch us on Facebook, but appreciate you all coming in here on YouTube. How you doing from E-Town? Jacob, good to see you. North Carolina, good evening. Kim from Bordentown. Kevin from Bangor, hey, how you doing? Ontario, Canada. How's it going? You're watching on Facebook? Is it working on Facebook? Do I need to just stop messing around with things? I can't see anything. Maybe because it's anyway, let's stop fiddle farting around here. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here, as they say. We had a lot of racing this week. This past week we actually had a lot of racing. And I know you guys were excited about that, because I was. It filled my entire week with a lot of joy to finally get into some racing, especially when it came to our modified division. Everyone was down there at All Tech Racing with Brett Deo in the Short Track Super Series. So that was a lot. That was a lot of good racing. Those boys put on a show. But sorry, it's a little chilly in here. So we had the Short Track Super Series at All Tech. So I'll just jump right into that. Like I said, I think a lot of us are here for. I don't want to say a lot of us are here for that, but we'll jump right in with that. Obviously, we saw Stu Friesen. He's one in a million, isn't he? He really put on a show down there for everybody. It was impressive, obviously. Let me see here. Sorry. Bear with me, everybody. But we had the boys down there racing the Short Track Super Series at All Tech for 4 nights. And Stuart Friesen was obviously one putting on a show for everybody. Hang on, I lost my notes. Let's go back here. First night, Wednesday night, Friesen came out on top. Payne ran second. Alex Payne. Then we had Van Dorn, Jankowski, and then Chris Curtis was rounded out 5th. The Sportsman feature was won by Richard Murtaugh. Got a shout out to the Crate Sportsman guys there. Thursday night, we had Stuart Friesen 2 nights in a row. And then Tanner Van Dorn, TVD, put on a really good show. He put on a good showing all week. That was impressive. Really impressed with how well he ran, especially with all the veteran guys around him. I don't know how old Tanner is, but he's a young kid, and he was really impressive. I was really happy to see a kid from up here run around this area, run really well. Shepard was 3rd. Danny Buck came in 4th. And Alex Payne was 5th. Thursday night, night 2 of the Short Track Super Series at All Tech. And then Friday night, the 3rd night, we finally got a different winner. We finally didn't have to see Friesen in victory lane. I'm just messing around. But we had Matt Shepard take the win. Night 3, Larry White in a Troyer car, by the way. Larry White finished 2nd. Fuller was 3rd. Tim Fuller, Darren Smith, and then TVD Tanner Van Dorn rounded out the top 5. Friday night, Thursday night, the Sportsman winner was Logan Watt, and then Friday night, Paulie Hartwig, the 3rd, ended up picking up the feature win for the Crate Sportsman down there at All Tech. Sorry, I forgot to mention Logan won on Thursday. Saturday night, the finale, Stu came back up there and won it, locked up the championship for the All Tech Short Track Super Series racing down there for the week. Anthony Perego, Eric Rudolph, Danny Buck, and then Jack Lehner rounded out the top 5. Paulie Hartwig won again Saturday night for the Crate Sportsman. Like I said, Friesen wrapped up the championship for that event, along with Logan Watt for the Crate Sportsman. Really good racing. Really, the only race, unfortunately, the only racing I got to watch live was the Short Track Super Series. Good stuff. Great stuff, honestly. I don't know why I'm saying good. Great stuff. Track was really good. Really racy. Guys were running up on the wall, literally hitting the wall. I watched Friesen bounce it off the wall at least half a dozen times. A couple guys got into it real hard and, kind of tore their stuff up a little bit. But you had to be up there. You had to be up on the top. You had to be running the cushion, or where there should be a cushion. You guys tiptoeing around the bottom, and it made for some impressive racing from those guys. And like I said, they put on a good show. There was one night. This is where I need to make some really good notes. I want to say it was Friday night. Track looked a little heavier. I didn't see what made the track. I don't know if they got some rain or what was going on. But the track seemed a lot heavier that night. And again, I don't know what that was all about. If they just went for something different. Trying to get, maybe trying to get the track a little bit racier for these guys. But I thought the track was really good for most of the events, the previous nights. But track was a little heavier, and that was actually, I must have been the 3rd night, because that was the night that Shepard won. Sorry guys, I'm running off on a tangent here. need to fix something. My apologies here, guys. I'm still new. Save that. Okay. My apologies again. Just trying to be the best I can for you guys here. Hang on. Let's get back to business. We had plenty of other racing down in Florida as well. They're already starting to race in Volusia. We had the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars in Volusia. And then we had the Lucas Oil guys over at Ocala, which I was informed is the old Bubba Raceway. So that's pretty cool. And we're going to get into those results as well. Again, I am sorry that I'm doing this to you guys. All right. And then we're going to switch it over to here. Is Facebook working? I appreciate you all bearing with me here. Okay. Pull this up over here. All right. All right. Then we had Lucas Oil over at the Winter. They had the Winter Nationals over at Colorado. Like I was talking, that's the old Bubba Raceway. YouTube is working fine. I couldn't get on Facebook yet. I'm not sure what's going on with the Facebook stuff. Yeah, Larry was in a Troyer. Mac. Yep, I thought the same thing. I was actually just as surprised as it seems like most. I mean, I was as surprised as anyone else to see that he was in a Troyer car, and he ran well. I mean, I'm not trying to knock on any other chassis builders here, but it's good to see some diversity when it comes to the chassis. I know Tyler Seary was in it looked like it was in a TO. The front bumper shows that he was in a TO car, so it was good to see some diversity there. Yeah. Lucas Oil was Winter Nationals at Ocala. The 4th, Tuesday, was a non-Lucas Oil event, but the late models are racing. You had Devin Moran coming in with the win. Brandon Overton in second, Jonathan Davenport, Carson Ferguson, and Hudson O'Neill round out the top 5. The 5th, Davenport led all 30 laps from the pole. So you had Davenport, Drake Troutman, Ricky Thornton Jr., Tim McCready, and Brandon Overton rounding out the top 5 there. The next night, Davenport led all 40 laps for the second straight win. And you had Davenport, Overton, Brandon Overton, Kyle Bronson, Brandon Shepard, and Devin Moran again in the top 5 there. And then Friday night, Ricky Thornton led all 50 laps from the front row, picking up the win. Hudson O'Neill finished second. Devin Moran, Bobby Pierce was there on Friday night. He ended up finishing 4th, and Jonathan Davenport finished 5th, rounding out the top 5. And then for all 25,000 on Saturday night, Devin Moran got by Davenport late in the race of that 50-lapper and picked up his second of the week and the big 25 grand. And then he had the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars over at Volusia. Night 1, Carson Macedo over David Gravel, Kyle Larson, Logan Schuhart, and Brad Sweet to round out the top 5. Then you had the NASCAR guys coming in there and whooping on these guys. You had Christopher Bell on the second night taking the win over Larson, Schuhart, Gravel, and Brad Sweet. The third night, Larson ended up getting the win over Bell, Gravel, Sweet, and Ryan Timms rounded out the top 5 there. And then the last night, Larson locked up that big old gator. Big old gator. Larson, Schuhart, Gravel, Macedo, Tyler Courtney. And we got some racing coming up the rest of the week. Up here. Not up here. You have the USAC non-wing guys over at Volusia tonight and tomorrow. And then you have them at Ocala, the 12th through the 15th. You have the dirt car late models starting tonight over at Volusia, running with the non-wing sprint cars. And then the World of Outlaws late models take over from there, the 13th through the 15th. And then you have our big block modifieds dirt car, Super Dirt Car Series at Volusia, starting Wednesday. I think, do they have practice tomorrow? I should know that. Wednesday, the 12th, through the 15th. The big block boys get started down there. There we go. You guys are all caught up. What do you think? I'm glad that YouTube's working fine. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. He was in a Troy or Charlotte gym? I didn't know that. Okay. All right. Well, that explains a few things. Looks like they've been working on it then. So you're saying they've been working on it? Get to the comments I missed here. Yeah, it's new to me too. I think a lot of people missed the Moody Mile there, Tim. Yeah, they ran good at All Tech, everybody. Especially that 44 car. He's got to figure it out. Everybody's going to be playing catch-up all season again. That's the way it seems. Hey, Billy. Billy Pauch in the house. You're in Daytona. Can't hear you. I'll try to keep up the good work, buddy. If you want to call this work. All right, we're going to, until I figure out Facebook stuff, I'm going to knock that off. I'm sorry. I apologize to the powers that be for not being able to figure it out. All right, I've ran over a couple minutes here. Let's get the guy everybody wants to see on the screen, not me. Michael, get ready. I'm cueing you in, buddy. He looks like he's ready. Oops. There we go. I hear my voice. That's not good. Let's bring my camera up. Ding dong. There we go. You got me, bud?
Yeah. Turn you up a little bit.
There he is.
All right.
What's up, man? Mike Mahaney's in the house, everybody.
Just checking out Jordon on live. getting some of the results. I watched a lot of those races this weekend.
Yeah.
Up at the Huddig's house, and really enjoyed it. It's cool to at their house where we can watch sprint cars, late models, modifieds, 3 different screens. It's a lot of fun.
I've heard of this epic setup that you that you guys have up there.
Yeah. No, we're also watching basketball, football, a little bit of college basketball, a little bit of NBA. Yeah, all at the same time. Keeping up with everything.
Oh, so you guys are a little bit diverse then. You're not just keeping yourself closed off into the racing world. You're actually tailing off into some other sports.
Yeah, there's a lot out there to watch, and we enjoy a lot of different sports.
Good. That's good to hear, man. Well, how you been tonight? You doing all right?
Doing great. Just came back from the shop. Jacob and I were putting together a new car. We did a lot of work to the body, kind of just adding some braces and different things before we took the body off of the frame, and then we labeled all the panels with the serial number so we don't get them mixed up with our other cars. and then started putting on the brake lines, uh, master cylinders, motor plate, um, fuel cell, seat, bell housing,
Yeah.
all the first things you throw on a car that take about they take those things take about like 10 minutes, and then the other stuff gets a little harder as you go.
Right. Yeah. No, that's no, you're no, you're right there.
It's like the stuff that's just like, okay, we bolted it on with 4 bolts. We're done.
Yeah. Exactly.
Done with that.
Right.
Check that off
Exactly.
check that off the checklist.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's what makes it fun is you know, we did a lot of work previously. Our Ballard came up uh probably a couple months ago now and helped strip the car apart. And him and Lance got all the parts clean and ready to bolt back on. And then Jacob found a nice rolling shelf to lay them all out on, and
There you go.
that just makes the whole putting it back together process a lot easier.
Yeah.
So really thankful for those guys putting all that work.
Nothing beats having all those parts cleaned up and ready to go for you. And like you're saying, having them all laid out ready to go when you're ready to start putting that piece back together.
Yeah, it doesn't end with just like cleaning it. Like a lot of the parts get repainted, polished. Uh, they have to get cleaned up and deburred, and um, so that doing all that ahead of time before the chassis even shows up makes it go really fast.
Oh yeah.
So
I like that you said D-bird because that's that's a very crucial part.
oh yeah, I don't really like cutting my hands all up. I have enough cuts on my hands that, and Mandee doesn't really like it.
Yeah.
So I just try to, as we take the panels off of a new frame and body, we'll clean up the holes and the
Hmm.
edges a little bit, and uh, even some of the other parts on a race car that I've just kind of been hammered a little bit. They get a lot of spots on them that create sharp edges. Like even
Yeah.
if just like a bird cage got hit with a rock, it
Yeah.
can put a little spot in it where there's sharp edge. You grab a hold of it to work on it and slice a big gash in your hand. And now you're worrying about wrapping that up instead of just fixing the car.
Yeah. That's the last thing. And God forbid something has to be done super quick at the track, and somebody comes out with a with their hand bleeding instead of being able to put that shock on that you wanted last minute or whatever, and you have a whole bigger problem that you have to deal with now.
Yeah, I mean everybody's a little bit different. I probably go a little overkill on making sure that everything's able to be quickly replaced. We put a lot of effort into the different lubricants that we use on the fasteners, and uh, try not to use an impact on an Allen socket bolt, uh, so that when you go to take it out, it comes out easy. And I worked on a lot of cars where you just can't get the things apart when you need to, and
Yep.
it's just taught me to take your time in the assembly process so that later you'll be thankful that you did.
Yeah, and this is stuff that you've learned from how many years of experience, and makes all the sense in the world, and is making not only your life easier but your guys' life easier, especially if you're at the racetrack all the time. Um, you know, that just comes with experience and being a smart guy.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. No, just about, I mean, yeah, over 20 years of racing,
Yeah.
uh and cutting my hands, and uh being frustrated with things not fitting or
Mhm.
not being able to get them apart. And yeah, I'm just fed up, so I want to have things nice, and we put a lot of effort into making some nice race cars. We just finished one of our new cars, and Jacob, this was like his first full build, and he did a
Okay.
really phenomenal job. It's a very nice race car, and right now it's we had it fired up last week, and it's sitting in the scale bay, ready to put some minor tweaks on it and get it scaled and set up, ready to race. And so once we did that, we just kind of jumped on this newest chassis to get that rolling. And also in the meantime, Lance has been uh, completely repainting the inside of the trailer.
Wow.
Uh, I actually got a coat of paint last year, but there just tends to be a lot of moisture that gets inside there, going down the road when it's raining or just sitting outside,
Yeah.
uh, and you know the rust and stuff just kind of comes through the paint. So uh, him and Jacob did a lot of work sanding that rust to get it down, and then we kind of switched paints to a Rust-Oleum brand to try to block out the rust. I mean, it's right in the title,
Yeah.
right? So it ought to work.
That's what they tell me. That's what I
So
used to buy that stuff for.
yeah, so we're trying a
Usually it
different
was
paint.
too late by that point, but you still tried.
Yeah, just trying to make it look nice, and we're gonna be. That's the stacker trailer that we've been using for years and years and years, and
Okay.
just trying to spruce it up. We also have our new single car trailer that we'll be using a lot this year as well. Uh, just trying to update everything and
That boy
keep it rolling.
fancy.
Hopefully, if we have time, we'll put some brake shoes on it too, and uh, or maybe adjust the wheel bearings.
Yeah, that trailer's damn nice. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm excited to use that.
You're gonna
We used it a
you're
little
not gonna
bit
want to
during
get it
Dirt
dirty.
Week. Yeah, it got a little dirty at Dirt Week, but it cleans up really easy
Yeah.
because of the layout and the way it is. I really had a good time washing it. I don't usually say that about washing trailers or cars, but when you have a new one, like you have a new race car or a new trailer, it's actually fun to wash them.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like everything just kind
When
of
you get
slides
done,
off it because it's
yeah,
brand
it
new.
slides off. They come out clean, easier,
Yeah.
uh, and then when you get done, they look really nice,
Yeah.
and it makes you feel good about the job you did. And yeah,
Well, that pretty much just walked right into the first thing I was going to ask you is all the what you have coming up for the upcoming season, all the prep you guys are doing. So you're working on multiple cars. You got a couple of them done. You got your trailers. You're situating your trailers. You're working on the trailers and stuff now. So that's good. Um,
yeah, we've also got some preparation going on. Lance is picking up some fuel tomorrow to make sure that we have the right type of fuel. We have to run multiple different fuels for the different engines that we packages that we have. So sometimes the correct type is not available at the racetrack, so we have to kind of get it in advance and be ready. And
gotcha.
so he's picking up some of that tomorrow. Some the C16 that we need for our open engines. Because our first race is looking like it's going to be Port Royal
Okay.
on March 14th and 15th.
Yeah.
And so that's happening. We also have some engines out getting rebuilt, uh, some transmissions, steering boxes, rear end. Rear ends are all back. DMI really kicked those around quick this year. And so they're all back. Torque arms are back on them, ready to go back in the car. Something that I do, I don't know if everybody does this now, but we've got those new easy rears. So
Mm-hmm.
we put the torque arms on the rear before we put it in the car, and we
Okay.
jack the thing up in bolt the torque arm to the slider
Yeah.
and put the tubes on that way, and it just makes it almost a one-man job instead of a three-man job
Oh,
like it used to.
absolutely.
So I really enjoy being able to do that. It also makes them easier to carry a spare in the trailer
Yeah.
and quicker to change it if we have to. So we prepare those in the shop and in advance as well. We got multiple spare front axles, rear ends with torque arms on them, tubes with bird cages and hubs on them. So heaven forbid I get into something, we can fix it quickly.
Yeah, that's a great setup. Those uh those rears, the way they're set up now, with the bolt-on tube, that's like you said. That honestly, just to be able to have something spare in the trailer, that's super quick and easy. And then you just describing how you put it in the car, like my back was just like, oh, that would have been nice to have about 10 years
Yeah.
ago.
So I put it on a
Muscling these
jack,
muscling these things around.
not even lifting it. I use a
Just
jack and jack it up from the bottom
yeah,
and then just hook the rod end to the biscuit and then put the tubes on and start hooking up your radius rods and
yeah,
shocks, and before you know it, the thing's in there in 15 minutes. It's the craziest thing because it used to take, I mean, it used to take an hour if you didn't
yeah,
have guys like really hustling.
yeah.
So
And experience too. You have to know what you're doing,
yeah,
and you have to kind of trust the people you're doing it with. And like I said, and if you don't have anybody and you're trying to do this by yourself, I mean, you're gonna struggle. It is.
yeah. It's
It's
something that I found is kind of important to me is that uh, the rear end guys really want you to torque the end bells at 35 foot-pounds to get the correct even crush on the spool and the ring gear,
yeah,
so that that runs true and has the right preload on the bearings and everything. And I think when people used to just have to throw a rear end in the car and hammer the bolts in with an impact, they never really got torqued to 35 foot-pounds like they're supposed to be. And that could lead to other rear end failures and things like that, where now we're slowly assembling the torque arms in advance in the shop and getting it correctly installed.
yeah,
And then when you do have to hustle, you're not messing with that stuff.
yeah,
And and you're not worrying about, creating some kind of problem.
yeah. All good things, and that's everyone's like you said, you want to do things the right way as it is, but now everything's so close now. You want things to be as close to perfect as possible anyway. Not only is it convenience, but it's also just helping you do things the right way, and just that little bit more that maybe saves the equipment down the line, or makes your job just easier down the line overall.
Yeah. Yeah. And in
We
other news, yesterday I got my snowmobile out.
Okay.
So I got up thinking
All right.
that me and Charlie were gonna go ride, and we got like a foot of snow.
I was just about to ask how much you guys got.
We got about a foot of
Oh my
snow
god.
on top of what we had gotten in the days prior.
Right.
And we go out looking at kind of hooking up the trailers to tow to where we're gonna ride. And we're like, we gotta plow. We gotta plow the driveways. We're gonna get stuck.
Yeah.
We really need to plow anyway. So we start plowing, and we're plowing the Chrysler dealership, and then we plow the race shop, and then we plow across the street, and then we plow our houses out. Before you know, it's like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And finally, Charlie's like, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna get ready to watch the football game. So I made about 3 laps around the driveway and put it away. And I tell you what, though, I got an '06 and the thing fired up on the third pole.
Dang. All right.
And unlike my race cars, I don't do any maintenance to it.
Yeah.
It sits outside.
So,
It's
something
very
has to
neglected.
something has to be neglected.
It's,
It's just the way we are. You put all your effort into one thing. You're taking care of that stuff. The snowmobiles, the quads, all that kind of stuff. The motorcycles, they'll be all right. They'll be all
yeah,
right.
yeah. Hopefully, I mean it. I had some fun on it yesterday, even though I didn't go very far, and uh, I didn't get to ride it at all last year. I fired it up once on the trailer and never even
Mhm.
got it off the trailer because it's just crazy how busy we get in the off season, and kind of just action packed with other activities as well.
Yeah.
Uh, you
Well,
know,
this is when you're trying to fit in, everything else. So,
yeah, trying to do some stuff with family and friends and things like that as well.
yeah.
Recently made about 3 trips to Florida and got to
So I heard.
got to travel a little bit and had
Oh
a
man,
really great time.
I would love nothing more than to talk about. You were down there for sick week with your dad, right?
Yeah, which
That's
was
awesome.
just mind blowing. I've never spent any time around drag racing,
Yeah.
uh, and to watch this was a drag and drive event where
God, they're
you
wild.
have to drive the car that you're racing to the next track, and you're not you're not really you got to kind of disassemble things and change things to make it go down the road.
Yeah.
But these are street legal drag cars, and there are so many things happening between uh, the different levels. So I had to show up and learn the classes, right?
Yeah,
You
there's a
know,
bunch of different classes, I think.
yeah, and they classified them by letter, A, B, C, D,
Right.
and uh, different things like whether you had a stick shift or an automatic, um,
Yep.
and just how fast your car goes, whether it's a 10-second car or 6-second car or whatnot. And I just really enjoyed it because so my dad had gone to this event and last year and he loved it so much he's like, I want to go to this and do it.
Yeah.
So he and my mom together decided to do it. And the other thing you may or may not know is that so the nobody can work on your car or
It's
help you out unless you're riding it
yeah,
to the
there's usually
track.
just the two, if it's just like two of you in
So
there, that's
yeah,
it.
so it's just the two of them in the
Yep.
car, and you can tow a single axle trailer or something
Yep.
with your tools, or you can pile them in the car. And they chose to pile them in the car and created a roof rack to put the drag slicks on
Yeah.
because they take the street tires off, put drag slicks on, and
I
then
was going to ask
vice
if they
versa
had
to go down the road.
different rear tires. Okay.
And they're bringing
Yep.
jacks and impacts and tools and I mean, most importantly, chairs to sit on when you get there because you're there for a while. But
Yeah.
I will say, the first day they did a lot of mingling, a lot of socializing, a lot of really checking out the races and stuff. And then after that first drive from one track to the next, it was a lot of miles and well over 6 hours, I believe, of driving. Uh, the next race, they got their run in and immediately just started packing up and heading to the next track. All right, we're wore out. We got to get to the next
Yeah.
place, and because they hit checkpoints in between each track
Yeah,
too,
you have to hit all
that
the
they're
different
following the
checkpoints. Yep. Yep.
proper route, and it's really interesting. And I'm very excited that I got to experience it a little bit with them. I did cut out a little early to head out and go north to Atlantic City to watch Billy run indoors.
Hmm.
And uh, but I'm just glad that I was there and got a lot of footage. My mom got some footage with her phone, and then they had a GoPro in the car that worked some of the time, and
Oh, sweet.
I got some footage. So we'll be putting together a YouTube video
Yeah.
shortly, and we'll have that out so everybody can check out their run at Sick Week, which I'm very proud to say that they made it all the way to the end without breaking down at all. And well, without the car breaking down. I mean, I'm sure maybe they might have got broke down with stress.
Right. It
But
might have got the best of them, but the car was still running.
yeah. Yeah, in the comments there is my dad chose to run a 69 Camaro with a 302 built by Finger Lakes Machine, Doug Holmes, that does the same guy that does our modified engines.
Okay.
Um,
What's he running?
so What's that?
What's he run? What's he running with that? What are we looking at?
Oh, it's a 302 Chevrolet.
No, but
Uh,
what times are we looking at here?
oh, times. Okay, so he was running about 13 seconds,
Okay.
and it was I think the car was capable of more than that, but the clutch had the clutch was slipping a little bit, and he could kind of feel it initially, and couldn't tell for sure if it was the clutch or if it was wheel spin. And
Right.
after, watching video and then making multiple runs throughout the week, he could start to feel, okay, that's definitely the clutch, and really started to baby the car
Yeah.
towards the end to make sure that he made it to the end, and he did. And the last run he made, the clutch slipped really bad even in fourth gear, not just off the line.
Right.
So, uh, really barely made it to the end with that. I don't know if he had parts or any way to fix that if it had gone out before the end. Uh, so just a testament to his driving and you know mostly like machine operating ability.
Yeah.
He's really from farming his entire life. He's really good at saving machines and operating machines
Right.
without having them break down and have failures because he knows how to treat them
Right. He
so
knew the
that
limit.
they don't beat
He knew
up.
how far it could be pushed and what he
Yeah,
needed to do to save it, like you said.
yeah, he's got a really good feel for that.
He says Clutch wasn't happy.
No, no, Clutch wasn't happy, and he really wanted to push it harder at
Yeah.
the end to really see what the car could do, but
Right. I'm sure the last
might
day
have
he
to
was
wait
probably just
till
itching
next.
to let it go, you know?
Yeah, I think he really just wanted to rev it all the way to the max and
Yeah.
drop the clutch as hard as you can to see how fast it would go because I think it would easily at that point get into the 12s, but he's got to update the clutch first. And
Right.
kind of a cool thing to make it through that whole deal and learn a lot about the car and learn a lot about drag racing and the travel around Florida and see all these different tracks and meet all these people and
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Did you see all the famous guys? Did you see guys like Cleetus McFarland and all them running his
I I did finally first funny story. I didn't know much
his
about
damn car,
Cleetus
man. His
going
car. That was insane. That thing.
in.
Oh my god.
He's
All of their
running
cars.
yeah, he's running 10-second cars and they're having a competition
Yeah.
or who can build the cheapest,
Right. Yeah, I guess sorry.
not cheapest, but
If
like who
yeah,
can
if
build a
nobody
car for under
knows.
7,500.
Yeah, it was a budget build, $7,500.
Yep.
Tried to build it
And
fast. It was three of them. Then he ended up adding one of the guys that normally runs like a 5 or 6 second car. They added him in later on. Um, this thing was
yeah, he's
hilarious.
got this El Camino and he's got turbochargers on it and
Yeah,
um, they had a Mustang with turbochargers on it and I mean just kind of like slap the stuff on there and run the pipes out the side. They don't
yep,
worry about how it looks or anything. Just make it go fast.
yep,
And saw him blow up the motor the first night.
yep.
And I well day. I'm saying night like we're dirt racing.
Right,
I'm used to. But this is all daytime. So see him blow up the motor and then I'm right by his car and he's pulling up on a scooter and he's all excited like yee and that I think he's got the parts to fix it.
right.
I think he found a guy on Facebook Marketplace to sell him a block and then they like changed the cam
Yep,
into that block and reassembled the heads on it and built the engine basically in the pits and then put it in the car and then drove it to the next track and it's just kind of unbelievable because I feel like, if we're pulling out the backup car or we're loading up and going home at that point,
yeah,
for our operation in comparison, we've never rebuilt the engine at the track.
yeah.
Uh, it's like you got too much money invested into the parts and, you got to keep it clean. You need a good place to do that for what we're working on. But, what a cool thing
And
and a
that
lot of
motor lasted the rest of the week.
it did, and it looked so rusty and
Oh, the
just
crud coming out
a
of that
mess.
thing. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
and Yeah, unbelievable. And I think they had to service it multiple times, and they made
Yeah.
a lot of adjustments, upgraded the turbo throughout the week. But the
Yeah.
last day I was there, it was funny. Like there's like the first day I could have walked right up to him and talked to him about it. I just didn't really know much about him or anything. But then
Hmm.
through the week, I kind of learned that he got a lot of attention at the drags, and uh, so I started watching some of his videos and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. He's doing a lot of cool stuff. And so
Yeah.
I walked up and uh, waited in line with the fans because there were so many, and got to do a little interview with him. So we'll throw that in the video
Really?
when it comes up. And really cool to meet him and talk to him for a brief moment.
That's really
A
cool.
very, very, very cool guy.
Yeah. I mean, just I've been watching his videos for a couple years now. Um, God, I don't remember. All I know is he had the Dale truck up in a thumbnail, and that drew me in, and I've been following him ever since. Um, he's he's got a whole cool crew of guys. They do some messed up stuff. They do some funny stuff, but man, they're racers, and they like going racing. Drag racing's their thing. But now he's actually getting into an ARCA car this week. He's going to go run Daytona.
Yeah, that's really
So
cool.
he and
And
you know
I
all
think
the
what's
we were
something
talking
that
about the Crown Vic races. I think he started that, doing all the Crown Vic races down at his racetrack
he's
in
got Crown Vics all over the place at the Freedom Factory there,
Yep.
and which was one of the tracks. Yeah, so he yeah it what they're doing, um, especially like in that division. There are some 6 second dragsters at this event that are real race cars, and
Yeah.
these guys are building really expensive motors and stuff like that. A lot like you know what we put together to run the big block
Yeah.
series or what a late model sprint car team spends. But it's interesting to me to see that you got guys building their cars in that fashion, rebuilding the engines in the pits, working on stuff, just kind of working with what they got and not spending a ton of money.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line, I feel like our sportsman division got away from that. Like we used to have an open sportsman engine, and
Preach,
then it
brother.
went to crates,
Yep.
and now we're not allowed to work on the engine. You're not allowed to take it apart, fix it if something happens to it, and um, it's supposed to be a budget class, and I think they attempted to make that, but then it got people away from working on the cars and really getting into that the build factor of it.
The whole
And then
sport has kind of
even our
gotten
race
there.
cars are kind of like cookie cutter. Everybody kind
Yeah.
of just buys them in a kit and just bolts them together. There's not a lot of guys like buying a used race car. uh, I mean uh, yeah, to buy a used race car and like kind of just piecing it.
Like we started.
Yeah.
That's how I started in the crate division. Was I bought an old chat. I was that was 2010, and I bought an '03 chat. Bicknell, and used whatever parts came with it, and shocks came with it, and stuff that Billy would give me, and just and threw something together for and the only thing I bought new was the motor. I bought a new motor. Everything else was a used part, and you went racing. And that's what that division was. And to your point, we've also just gotten away from it across the board. And I
Oh yeah,
think, and
it's
you definitely
everywhere.
touched on that. You can just buy everything and just go racing, which is fine. It's the world we're living in now. But to your point, it's cool to see um, glimpses of what it used to be like. And Nicholas just brought up in the chat here, Tommy Hager. There's like a famous photo that always goes around on some of the old boards on Facebook and stuff of Hager rebuilding his motor right there in the pits, thing torn, all torn apart, and then going back racing. It's like that was what you had to do because you wanted to go racing, and if it was early enough, I guess if things broke, You could just go back racing that night if you were willing to pull it out and go fix it and go back out there. It's not as necessary now, and that's just, I don't know. It's the way it is nowadays.
Yeah, and I get it, and I think that again for the how do I put it, like the professional division or whatever, or the higher division, I feel like you're never going to go back to that.
No.
But I would like to see some sort of entry level division start to see some of that. I think it would really grow a lot of interest for younger kids to get into motorsports and embrace it more, knowing that they could really make a difference on, building their own engine or different things like that. I think people have kind of, man, there's just not a lot of engine builders out there anymore, and people really don't have the confidence to build them themselves.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive. I just can't say enough how inspired I was of watching them do that in the pits
Yeah.
and then drive the thing to the next track and race it and run a good time.
Yeah. And the thing lasted the rest of the week.
A whole
And,
week, yeah.
I watched the latest video. They were pulling it apart. And I think he said they probably bent a rod the last run. And they were going to be replacing, rods and pistons and stuff like that anyway. But still to make, 6 or 7 passes on that thing afterwards and driving hundreds of miles afterwards. Insane. And like you said, to just watch it all go down in a parking lot and for it to survive that whole thing, that's pretty cool. And it definitely, inspired is definitely a good word, man. I like that because it gets you thinking like, man, it could easily be achievable. I think,
Yeah,
it's,
you just got to learn it.
yeah,
I spent some time, uh, taking apart engines for Doug Holmes at Finger Lakes Machine and uh, working for him when I was younger, and learned a lot about how to do that. And then went on to work for Enders for a couple years,
hmm,
and and did the same type of thing, and then ran engines on the dyno and got really good at taking them on and off the dyno. And it made me feel proud and accomplished to say I could run
yes,
3 engines in a day,
yes, yeah,
install them, get them up and running, and then get them apart and off the dyno, and then put another one on. And uh, it's something to be proud of, because like there's a lot of people that don't even know which way the oil lines go on a dry sump, which is, I mean, that's nothing against anybody that doesn't know that, because it is complicated. Uh, but
50-50 shot most of the time, I think.
if you're going to go racing, you got to know this stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so somehow people got to be able to learn it. And it's on top of being inspired about him rebuilding the engine in the pits, I also was inspired that he also stayed up and edited the video himself and put the video up the next day
right.
so that everybody could watch it.
Yep.
And I've watched Mandee work so hard on these videos and stay up late editing and get up early and edit so that everybody can watch the next day. And I have taken a kind of a back seat and approach, because it's like, I'm racing, I got to focus on that. Uh, but again, I'm inspired that we could continue to grow and expose more, and maybe teach a little more. I've gotten away from that a little bit. I'd like to get back into it some more,
Yeah.
kind of show a little more what we're doing at the shop, maybe explain some more things on a race car, how things go, how to do things, so that more people can learn. I wouldn't mind uh, doing that for many reasons.
Yeah, and that's something I think you and I had a conversation about that a long time ago. And that's where, I mean, I didn't know anything about drag racing at all. And I
Me
knew
too.
very little about like they're all these guys are really into their Corvettes and their LS motors and all that stuff. I didn't know any of that stuff. I've I've picked up a lot just from watching these videos, and have and to me, drag racing wasn't really even on my radar. It's cool, but like I don't really have any interest in that. Now, like I'd love to go to like these events, and hearing that you guys were down there at this one, I'm having serious FOMO. And I'm like, because that would have been awesome to be able to be down there for something like that. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm happy to hear that, it's given you a little bit of inspiration and is now kind of tickled your creative, uh, you know, brain to want to do a little bit more. Because that only benefits, everyone that's watching right now and everyone else that's subscribed to the channel and maybe future people that want to subscribe and be a part of it because you're going to show us some really cool stuff and people are going to learn a lot because you know a lot. So that'd be cool. I hope that I hope that you get to that point and have the time for it. And I'm excited to hear that. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be great. We'll have some extra content, and I'll just keep Mandy even busier with the editing because I still haven't learned that. I did start to try and look at how to do it though, which I've never even uh really took much interest in that before. And
You'll pick it
yeah,
up.
this whole drag racing thing has kind of got me thinking, from the outside looking in. It's like I've been in circle track racing for so long that I've kind of got horse blinders on what we do, and looking at other sports and how they do things and what's going on, and their approach has really taken an effect to how I back up and look at what we're doing. And hopefully it pays off, for in many different ways throughout this year. Uh, taking a taking a little break and doing some different stuff during the off season, getting away from racing, and so I'm fresh and energized to get back in it. Because right now I'm watching these guys down at Alltech
Hmm.
and not racing with them. I've got the itch.
Yeah.
I'm really pumped to get back in the car, and uh, we've got some really beautiful equipment to race this year, and I'm just excited. I've got a lot of energy right now.
Yeah, and that leads me right into what I was going to ask you, if what you thought of the racing down there, and the second part of that would have been like, do you I know you wish you were there, but like you just answered it. You got the itch, but what did you think of how the racing was down at Alltech?
I thought it was cool, So the from being there, what I can tell you about Alltech is it's got a unique clay surface that with moisture actually gets kind of slimy and slippery. So kind of heard you mention earlier the one night looked super heavy, but that heavy night, the lap times, like the quick timer was Tanner Van Dorn with a 19.8 versus when the track was a little drier in time trials. I think uh, I think Eric Rudolph might have had a 19.2.
Hmm.
Um, so big spread in the lap times, but the opposite of how our tracks up here do, where usually with a wetter track you go faster. Uh, Down there it just gets kind of like greasy and slimy when it's wet, and then
Right.
they get better grip as the track dries out. So uh, guys that are used to searching to hit the cushion or the bottom where it's a little wetter, they're hitting the bottom and like four wheels sliding up the track, or they're hitting the cushion and sliding up into the wall.
Yeah.
And it gets really exciting to watch that, especially at turn one. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff happening down there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and how they approach that and carry speed and try to get turned and headed down the other direction because the car just wants to go through the wall as they enter turn one there, and it's a just a dangerous. Uh, you're just flirting with it there, and
Hmm.
everybody's dealing with the same thing, and it's like who can get it figured out. And obviously, like you said, Friesen had it figured out from the get go. Just the one night, He got into he didn't draw as good. He
Hmm.
finally didn't, he first drew the pole 2 nights in a row. Then he didn't get the draw the third night, and got
Yeah.
into a car that spun out. Had to go to the pits,
Yep.
repair the toe. A toe was way off, and I mean, the car was totally messed up. Um, but they did get back out there and get a decent enough run so that they get the overall, uh,
Right.
Sunshine Swing Championship, right?
Yeah. You had
Which I
a
think
couple extra,
I
a little
would
bit
I
of
would
extra
like
money
to
there.
know. I didn't ever see like a rundown of the points. I know it doesn't really matter much because I only paid like $1,500, but it'd be cool to know like who got second in that because I feel like Tanner was very consistent all week and he might have been had a run uh, to win that overall deal.
Yeah, I mean, just based on finishes, let me just, I mean, I only have the top five in front of me from each night. I mean, Tanner was third the opening night, second the second night, fifth the third night, and then he was outside the top five on the final night. Um,
But not far. I think it was like sixth or seventh. It
right.
wasn't too
Yeah, I
far
think
back.
you're right there.
So he had a very consistent week and really impressive
Yeah,
for his age and experience level. Great young driver, and Alex Payne ran really well down there.
yeah, he's
Also,
another name you
also
see
a young
consistently.
young
Yep,
driver that's doing really well.
yep.
Kind of cool, and I makes me going to wonder like does this track being so different from where we run uh, kind of go hand in hand with a driver with less experience because they just don't know any different that it's so weird, but hey, who cares when you know you're
Yeah.
new anyway. Not that they're that new. I think they got it, they've had some years of experience now,
No,
but
but you definitely hit something there.
I'm kind
There's
of
definitely
like,
something to it for sure.
yeah, when I went there I was like, what is this place? It's weird. It's
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah, they
uh
just walk up.
me
It's a
a little bit
racetrack.
to
Let's
get
go
used
race.
to it. I went back and looked, and when we went down there the one time, drew really horrible the first 2 nights, and they didn't have timed qualifying back then. So we just drew really bad and weren't able to get through the heats. The track was wet, hard to pass and stuff. And we had to change motors at the track. Uh, and we got that done relatively quickly, and the car was pretty good. Drew bad again, drove from last to eighth that night. And we're like, okay, now we got something here. We're running pretty good. We just got to qualify better. Final night, we draw a great number, and it rains out.
Of
And
course.
through
Of
that,
course.
basically through that experience, George Huddig was just like, "Yeah, I don't think we're gonna go back."
Yeah.
And then we were watching the races the other night, and I kind of like had a conversation with him, explaining like, they do time trial now. We might have a better experience if we go back next
Mm-hmm.
year. You know, so
Well,
just something
that's
to
good.
think about.
You put it in his ear. That's
Yeah,
good.
just kind of put the bug in his
Yeah.
ear like a year in advance. Maybe we'll change it. But I think we've made a good decision for this year. We got a baby on the way. We've got race cars to build, engines to get rebuilt. Um, we've got just a lot of things happening, and uh, taking a focus towards the points races that we definitely need to run,
Yeah.
and kind of reducing the schedule a little bit is probably going to play in our favor through the season. And we just don't want to get ourselves run down too early. Not just us, but the race cars. They
Yeah.
race hard at Alltech and Volusia, and then you gotta really really go through those cars before the season starts, and there's not a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Next thing you know, like you just said, or you said earlier on, I mean, Port Royal comes up pretty quick.
yeah.
That'll be by the time,
So
if you were to go to Volusia, and then by the time you come back, you're talking, 3 or 4 weeks, and you got to be right. You got to be ready to go. And then you're in the season basically from there. Then it's racing almost every week until April, and then you're going. Then the season started.
yeah, yeah. So we're trying to hold back the reins, even though I really want to be in the race car and I'd love to be racing down there. And Volusia this coming week too. I'd love to be there as well. And uh, excuse me. I don't
So,
normally talk this much.
we were doing
But
a good job. Don't worry. Um, so what are the Saturday night plans?
Saturday nights are kind of our, race if we want to night.
No. Yeah.
Kind of same as last year where we go to a track if we have all our stuff prepared and we really want to race. Um, but our Friday night at Albany Saratoga is our main big block weekly
Okay.
deal. And we also run small blocks there as well. So some nights we do double duty with a small block and a big block.
Gotcha.
And on Thursday
Yeah.
nights, we run at Airborne with a 358. And this year that's going to be dirt car sanctioned. So we'll get our dirt car points for
Okay.
the 358 series there, and we'll get Hoosier tire points as well. And Devil's Bowl will have some Sunday, Saturday shows for 358s uh, throughout the season as well. So plenty of plenty of weekly racing between those three tracks
Absolutely. Yeah.
that are all local to our shop,
Yeah.
and that all kind of work together. Um, they all fit with the schedule with the series as well,
Mhm.
right? So Airborne is off on Thursdays whenever there's a series race. So worked really well last year. We were able to get in everything that we needed to with no conflicts, and we're looking forward to a similar schedule this year.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Not everything you just described. That's the more I'm thinking about it, like that couldn't be any more perfect for you. You get a couple nights of racing each week, and that's good that the schedules all work out that way too.
Yeah,
It's nice that they kind of work together with the series and the racetracks that are up there in your neck of the woods. Um, I do want to touch on one thing. Mike Butler brought it up before, and we were talking about it earlier today as well. And this kind of goes, I don't know if it just kind of goes into our conversation before when we were talking about the 5-star bodies that they just came out with the plastic doors and quarters. Um, what are your thoughts on that? Because for me, I was like, this is really interesting and could be something that is really good. Um, and I was trying to see if I could figure out if anyone was running them down in Alltech just by the look of them, but
it's
I couldn't
really
really
hard
tell.
with the cars wrapped. It's really hard to tell the
Yeah,
difference,
yeah,
and especially uh, with Michael Parent's brand and the 5-star brand, they are a molded composite material that still has the same bends and edge molding and everything that you would have on a sheet metal body. So
yeah,
once it's wrapped, you really can't tell the difference.
yeah.
Uh, it has a bead roll around the wheel well. It's got all they have all the things, and we just mounted one on the car in the shop, and
Okay,
compared it to the stack. There's a stack brand that comes from McNell, and it's kind of a thinner, lighter material, but it's just flat. There's no bead rolls in it,
okay,
no uh, bend out at the top. Um,
gotcha.
just a very flat, basic panel. So the guys that run the stack panels, I think you would notice more. Uh, but the guys that run Michael Parent's brand or the MD3 5-star brand, it'd be harder for you to tell at all, other than maybe getting a view of the inside of the panel that's not wrapped. And it's a wait and see for me. We're mounting some of them up and checking out some of the new types of bracing that people are using. There's different things with spring steel or composite
Hmm.
bendable material to brace these panels up more. because they are not they don't have as much structure as the aluminum, but they seem very durable. Like they can take a hit and straighten back out. You know, you may have to use a little heat gun or action or something on the creases or things like that to get them to straighten, but I think you can. And yeah, they don't seem to kink as much as a metal panel would, or crack
Hmm.
around the edges like they do. And the right side panel is getting it's really down in the track with these left side Panhard cars, and it's just getting kind of taking a beating more than they used to.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a good option for people, and I'm not sure that it's a superior advantage, like everybody has to go out and buy it. Um, but when you are buying a new outer skins, you can look at it and say, okay, do I want to try this or not? I think there's some work to it on the graphic guys, and they gotta apply some adhesive promoter to get the decals to stay on
Oh,
better,
okay. I didn't even
because
think about
it's
that.
not as easy to stick a decal to a plastic panel as it is
Right.
to a metal surface.
That's a good
Uh,
point.
but from what I hear, the guys aren't really having an issue with the wraps peeling off, and it's a wait and see. I'll have to see how it works for me.
Hmm.
I, I'm I'm I don't like when the body gets a crack in it, or the wrap peels off or
Hmm.
whatever. It bothers me. So if that starts happening, I'll be like, no, we gotta make a change here. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to try these panels out and see the differences. You know,
Yeah.
uh, see how durable they are, how long they last. Can we get more races out of them for really similar cost? Buying them is not really that different than buying an aluminum set. I think
Hmm.
prices are kind of all over the board, uh, whether you're going with composite or aluminum, because like if you're getting an aluminum body, if you made it yourself, it's a lot cheaper than buying it from McNell.
Right.
Um, or if you got it from, even if you got it from Mad Skins or any of the other number of guys that make panels for guys to get a more affordably. So it's hard to compare numbers, and then all these different composite manufacturers have different prices too.
Hmm.
And so, but the reality is they're all in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the prices seem to be exactly what you just said. They all seem to be in the ballpark. When I looked them up, I went, "Oh, okay. That doesn't seem to be um, out of the realm of what you would be spending anyway." And it all comes down to what you were saying. How's it going to hang? What's the durability? How's it going to hang up? What's it like mounting up? Um, is the wrap? Are the wraps going to start blowing off these things? Are they going to be too flexible in all that air, like the left side doors? Um, stuff
What I
like that.
like is that flexibility wise, the manufacturers have already started to try to get ahead of that and added more bracing
Okay.
to support the middle and bottom and top underneath the deck. And
Okay.
to I feel like that bracing could have been added, or can still be added, to your aluminum panels
Right.
to support them better. And regardless if people are going to composite panels or not, I think that the updates on the door supports and flexible bracing, because I mean this stuff gets hit and bent and stuff, and then it doesn't fit, and you try to straighten it, and it's just a pain in the neck. And we've watched the late model guys all go to flexible, you know, repairable body supports.
Yep.
And we've just still been using these tubular steel body supports that get bent, and you can't straighten them back out. You're either cutting and grinding and welding to fix them, or you're throwing them away and buying a new
Yeah.
one.
Right. Yeah.
You're not just gonna like hammer it back straight. Where these whether you're using spring steel or composite or these all these different flexible materials that they're using, uh, the panel can get bent in during the race and pop right back out and straighten itself without even going in the pits. So that's kind of cool in itself. I mean, if you back the right rear quarter into the wall and then it's bent way in, you're kind of at a disadvantage for the rest of the race. But if it pops back out, then
Probably
maybe
save some.
it's a possibility at least for it to pop back out. It's probably not going to do it, every time,
Right.
but it might.
It's nice to think that maybe you might save some guys some, blowing out some rear tires because they pushed their, they crumpled up their right rear quarter
Race
panel,
into the tire.
and it's not coming up into the tire. It's it might rub it a little bit, but then it just pops right back, or
Yeah.
at least the possibilities there. So that's certainly nice.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. I All right. I feel pretty good about that. About them. I like that we're, that people are still innovating stuff and coming up with some better. They see something and want to come up with a better idea. I like that. And it's nice that people are trying to do something for our, little, not little, but our big mud turtles up here that, that, they want to make something nice for us. That's nice too.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, we are a regional northeast based division. So it's harder for the national manufacturers to focus on our division
Yeah.
when they can look at a late model or a UMP or IMCA modified that runs all over the country. So yeah, cool to see some different things kind of being updated to that. Updates aren't always good. I think that you see rule changes and some people get really excited and some people really don't. And then some people aren't really sure what that's going to do. I really think this isn't going to force people into buying something new. So it's not a bad deal. Where there are rule updates that make the new thing like the particular advantage that everybody needs, and now we're all just throwing away what we have and going to buy something new. And that's not really beneficial for
No.
everyone. So those aren't the types of changes that I like to see, but I just don't. I really messing around with these panels, and I'm not seeing how. It's not like I'm going to go out and buy them for every single car I have right now. I think that it's an option, and
Exactly. Having an
I'm gonna
option is
I'm
nice.
gonna keep running sheet metal on some of my other cars
Yeah.
at the same time.
No, like you said, having the option is nice. It's just nice to have that out there, and I hope it's something that is at least just around for that exact reason, that guys can do, can have a pick of whatever works for them the best. So yeah, all right, I like that. Hold on, there was a question in here that somebody asked that I wanted to get to you. It looked like Mandee said that she's not going to come up to New York in all this snow. It's unacceptable. I don't know if you read that.
I I didn't figure she would want to.
All right, we got to when your season starts. That's coming up at Port Royal. Um, Wilton, I don't know why Northeast Modified is a center seat. I think it's just kind of the way that the cars, just evolved over time. There was at some point we just kind of split off from what an asphalt modified ended up kind of going to, and the dirt modifieds, whenever, and everything just kind of went this way. I don't know why they ended up staying center seat. I don't know if you know any more about that, Mike.
I, why, one reason that I could say why is safety.
Yeah.
The driver in the center of the car means that if you get a hit on the left or the right, you have equal amounts of, you know, frame and body and bumpers to protect you from both
Mhm.
sides. The cars where the driver is shifted to the left, the left side hit is not good in most situations.
Yeah,
And so I really like a center, driver in the center of the car. It's the most protection from all directions,
that's a
and
good point.
it's a good reason to do it.
Yeah,
I guess, modifieds are a unique car. They're a combination of a lot of similar suspension geometry to a sprint car, uh, but then, you know, body more like, a late model or an open wheel uh, type of, UMP or something like that, but with a late model size tire.
yeah.
So it's just a combination of a lot of different things, and I really I really like the safety factor of these cars. It's probably the biggest win of why do you run a modified? Well, a, I'm 6'4", and a sprint car is not the safest vehicle for me. Loved racing
Unfortunately,
sprint cars, but I also wasn't in love with the wings. I
mm-hmm.
really I really would have loved to at some point like kind of gone to the non-wing, non-aero dependent car. But if I got in a flip like those things do, like the way a non-wing sprint car flips, I don't I'd probably be in a wheelchair. I mean, I just don't think that I would be safe in that. And uh, so staying in a modified is like the safe route for me, and I kind of get the same experience that I do other than the body on the car.
Right.
So if there's one thing like rather than changing the panels on the car, if we could just take the bodies off of the car, that's the other thing that I would change.
Yeah,
Just completely let's just not even run the body. Just run like the skin around the frame
that's
like
it.
you do on a sprint car.
Yep.
But the modified size chassis and roll cage and that safety factor is what
Yeah.
I really love about these cars. And doing that would kind of be interesting. It'd be interesting to have a race, no body race, naked race.
I mean, there's your. I mean, that's what the run what you brungs ended up always being was guys taking all the doors and quarters off, throwing a wing on the top. I mean, we don't need to throw a wing on the top, but they would
Yeah,
they would
they
ditch
do.
those
They
doors and
do
quarters
that
immediately.
to make the cars, and they make the cars really fast
Yeah.
in that way with the sail on the left side or
Hmm.
whatever. But
Yeah.
I think racing wise, the fans need to see the cars slide around more and see less air on the bodies to let them slide around more.
Yeah.
And uh,
There was talk not that I feel like there was talk a few years back where they wanted to shorten the doors up at least. Um,
yeah,
and I feel like that would, that'd be a step in the right direction for sure.
yeah, and I think that making the bodies smaller or whatnot, the cost there is no cost there other than the wrap. The cutting your tin smaller is not an expense,
Right.
right? I mean, I understand a lot of people are just going to chuck their panels and buy new ones
Yeah.
and not accept the fact that they could just cut them.
Right. Yeah.
but but
You could just cut that in half,
real
but no,
thing
go
is
ahead
you
and
could
throw it
just
out.
cut it and rewrap the panel.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's just I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see it, but I would love to have that race, and Mandee can put in the thumbnail like we went naked racing or something like that. It'd be huge clickbait,
We went racing.
lots of
Dot
views.
dot dot. Naked. I see it already.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. But no, the center steer deal is definitely a comfortable race car.
Yeah.
I really like being in the middle of a race car. It's a happy place for me.
Yeah. No, they're definitely comfortable, and from someone who flipped for the first time this year in one of them, definitely made me feel a little bit better. Not being on one side or the other. Um, Definitely a little more cushiony. Um, Mike, I've taken up way too much of your time tonight, bud. Um, but I do want to ask one more thing. It was actually something I forgot to message you and Mandee about. We have another podcast coming up tomorrow. Both you and Mandee are in it, if I'm not mistaken. Is there any kind of detail you can give me from your side of it, what we can expect from the podcast being dropped tomorrow?
So I missed the title. So we do a lot of podcasts and schedule in advance. So you're gonna have to give me the title if you know. If do you know what it is?
I don't know what the title is. No.
Okay, I'm not sure. So this is gonna be this is gonna be a real surprise. I know we've made multiple
Gotcha.
podcasts recently. So which one she's releasing tomorrow is going to be news to me. But you're
Uh,
just gonna have to tune in and find out.
I might be able to hang on. I might be able to figure it out. Hold tight. Give me 1 second here.
The fun thing, what I really love about podcasts is I put my earbuds in and listen to them when I'm at the gym. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I listen to them while I'm driving in the car. Uh, we
That's all I used to listen to
put them
him
on
was
at the
in the
shop.
car.
You know, it's something that you can kind of, you
Did you
can
say in the
hear
shower?
in the shower.
Yeah, is that what you said?
No, I said
Oh,
in the shop.
yeah, in the shop. I thought you said in the shower. I was like, damn, all right, that's new.
But
I might
I
have to try
have
that. I
worn
might have to try that out.
look, I have worn my AirPods like in the pool, in the, you know,
Yeah.
I have worn them in the shower. I will admit that. Not often, but
Whatever gets the job done.
I do like. I've gotten on this kick. Mandy got me on it with these podcasts. There's so much to learn,
Yeah.
and I really love them. There's a lot of uh, there's just a lot of stuff you can listen to that really gets you to learn new things and kind of gets your energy flowing.
Yeah.
And I can work and listen to that at the same time, or uh, work out at the gym and listen to that at the same time, and really enjoy them a lot.
Yeah, I know. Definitely, if you're sitting there doing not a mindless task, but if you're just doing something and you're just going to be doing whatever, like, if you're working out, if you're just you're just running on the treadmill, or you're, biking, or even if, you're doing some kind of weightlifting, you could just have it in. You can just be listening to that. You don't, listening doesn't need to be involved. So
Yeah.
in lifting weights or anything. So, all right. Well, that was a fumble on that part. I'll just say, hey, tomorrow the podcast drops on Dirt Track Confessions. So listen in, and you might hear Mike talking.
All right.
That was a bit of a fumble on that one. I forgot somehow that I mean, I know I did via text, but congratulations again on new dad coming in. We got a new
Man,
dad coming in
I am
here.
so excited to be dad. I can't
I
I can't wait for that. I can't believe we waited till the end to talk about this, but I think we mentioned it earlier. But
Yeah.
I watched last week when you talked to Mandee, and I just this is like a whole new world, whole new experience, and I've got friends that have kids, family that have kids, and they all say that it is you have kids. I
Hmm.
mean, everyone says that it's just a life-changing experience, and I can't wait. I know that um when it all goes down in August, it's going to be a very busy time. But I'm so excited for it that I'm not worried about that. I'm excited and
Yeah.
and ready. We've been waiting for this for quite some time, and we're just ready. And and not ready like I know from everybody, all you guys that have kids, and you know you're never going to be ready for this. I know that, but I'm ready to experience it, and I'm ready for the challenge, for how hard it's going to be.
You're ready
Uh,
for what you're not ready for. That's what.
exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, you and
Yeah.
listen, you're gonna and I told her you guys are both gonna be great parents. It's I'm so happy for both of you, that you finally get to go on this journey. I mean, this enjoy the only thing I'll tell you, I mean, there's plenty of things, but when you're in this part, definitely enjoy this and try to take in as much as you can because I feel like sitting here now over 5 years removed from when Emma was born, and that whole part of the pregnancy, you start to forget things just as time goes on. Anyway, but the excitement of each ultrasound, hearing certain things for the first time or seeing certain things on the up on the screen for the first time, and definitely enjoy that part of it too, because I mean, you guys are going to have so much going on once the little one is here. Um, those things kind of go away, but this part of it too is really exciting because you're starting to go through and put the room together, or you're buying a crib, you're buying the toys, you're getting everyone else is super hyped up and stuff. That kind of energy I miss. We got a little bit of a taste of it again when Colby came for our second, my second little girl, but nothing beats that first time, unfortunately, of experiencing all of that for the first time, and that kind of excitement, and especially now that you guys have, you can finally release it all because it has been so long. I'm happy that you get to do that for you guys and enjoy it, because it's not. Kids are a pain in the ass down the line, but the beginning is fun. It's exciting to do all that stuff, and hey, man, welcome to the club.
Thanks. Thanks for letting me in. I'm very excited to be in the club, and for our baby to grow up and uh, be able to teach them things, and and learn things from them, and this just the whole experience is something that I'm just, we've been waiting a long time to get into this, and it's one of those things. Is things always happen at when they're supposed to.
Yeah,
People always say that, and uh, I've had a really good run. I'm made it to 35, and I think it's time. I think it's time to do this.
yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's gonna be great, and you guys have incredible people around all around you, both up there, up north and down here. Um, so that's really cool that you guys. Yeah, I know both of your families are gonna be have got to be insanely jacked up for all this as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that we have a great support group around us, of family, friends, uh, fans, just so many good people, uh, through all across everything we do, that I can't wait to see how how it all goes. It's just something that will be a whole magical new thing.
yeah, man. Jim, I don't. Listen, I think you had more than I'd have, so I don't know why we had all these damn kids. Um, yeah, yeah. No, Courtney. Yeah, he's got everybody going here. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right, Mike. Listen, bud. Again, I took up way too much of your time tonight, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming in here and shooting the shit with us all, and making this night go super smooth and a lot of fun. We got to talk about a lot. Listen, guys, we could sit here for probably another hour or more and keep talking, but
We'll save that for the next
yeah,
episode.
exactly.
And I really appreciate you having me on, and doing this show is really cool, and it's going to keep growing and building as the weeks go on and as we get racing more and more. So
yeah,
looking
man.
forward to seeing that grow as well. You have a great night. Thanks for having me, and talk to you soon.
All right, bud. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you, bud. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Thanks, buddy. Now it's just me. Unfortunately, it's just me and you guys. All right, well, I mean, that kind of led us right into the end here. I don't think we really, I mean, I know we missed a bunch of your guys' questions. I apologize if we didn't get to you. I just tried to hit on some of the big ones here. But, yeah. Jim, when are you getting back in the car? When are you gonna run that? When are you gonna run that? When are you gonna run that car again? I think I asked you last time. Again, guys. Yes, I appreciate. Yeah, I would appreciate you guys hitting the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. That would be good. I know. I know everybody would appreciate that as well. Let's see here. Went through all the results. Yeah, so check in next week. Next Monday we'll have we'll have some more racing to talk about, because we'll have the modified guys are at Volusia, or everyone's kind of driving down right now to go to Volusia. So Dirt Car Nationals are going on this week, so we have a lot to unpack there for next Monday. Who knows? We might even be able to get to talk to somebody who was down there. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully, hoping that happens. I know I mentioned it before, but Dirt Track Confessions podcast will be dropping tomorrow, so look out for that. We'll miss Fulton, but mid-season, all right. I can't wait to see it run, man. I love that video. I don't know, man. Something about that generation of cars. I mean, the older the better. I loved seeing every minute of it, man. That was a lot of fun. All right, guys. We're going to end it off there. I appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by and hanging out with us. Again, thank you to Mike for giving me his time tonight and chatting with us, keeping this thing going. We'll be back again, like I said, next Monday for a little bit more. And you guys have a great night. Have a great week. Watch the races. Support all the racing going on. And that's it. I'll see you guys at the racetrack at some point, or I'll see you next Monday. Just come on back. Good night, everybody. See ya.